In 2022, in Cleveland, Ohio, a 23-year-old woman named Adriana Taylor was full of promise. Ambitious and independent, she had built her own eyelash business from the ground up. Though she was also employed elsewhere, her entrepreneurial spirit shone brightly. It was at her workplace that she met 43-year-old Anthony Kennedy, a man 2 decades her senior. Despite their significant age gap, the two quickly developed a romantic relationship. Adriana was glowing with excitement, and the couple soon moved in together. At first, things seemed ideal. They shared a home, a life, and appeared deeply happy. But everything took a dark turn in early October 2022. Adriana suddenly stopped communicating with her family and friends. Her absence was alarming, not only because she was close to them, but because Adriana was known for regularly checking in and showing concern for others. Her phone calls stopped. Her texts were no longer being sent. Her social media fell silent. Every attempt to contact her went straight to voicemail. The silence was deafening. Weeks passed with no word. As her loved ones grew more anxious, they eventually filed a missing person report on November 13, 2022. The Cleveland police launched an investigation right away. Their first stop, Adriana's boyfriend, Anthony Kennedy. When questioned, Anthony told detectives that he and Adriana had broken up and that she had simply left. He insisted he hadn't seen or heard from her since. Despite officers pressing him with questions, Anthony stood firm, repeating that she was gone and he had no idea where she went. With no concrete evidence at the time, police couldn't detain him. They turned to Adriana's family and friends for possible leads, but none emerged. As Thanksgiving approached, the emotional toll on her loved ones grew unbearable. Instead of preparing for a joyful holiday, they were begging the public for help, holding out hope for Adriana's safe return. Then, on Thanksgiving Day, November 24, 2022, authorities in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania received a tip. Someone in the neighborhood pointed them toward surveillance footage from the 800 block of Hill Avenue. The footage was blurry but showed a man pulling up in a dark-colored Nissan. He exited the vehicle, retrieved something from the trunk, and walked toward the rear of a seemingly vacant house. To most, it may have appeared normal, but to the local residents, this activity was suspicious. No one had lived in that home for weeks. The police followed up on the tip and conducted a search of the property. In the backyard, they found a door that led to a small concrete stairwell. At the edge of the steps, they noticed what looked like freshly poured cement. Their suspicions deepened. When they broke through the concrete, they discovered a construction bag. Inside that, there was a tote bag, and inside the tote bag lay the body of a young woman. There were no personal belongings or identification found with the remains. Investigators turned to fingerprint analysis to confirm the victim's identity. It was Adriana Taylor. The missing woman from Cleveland had been found, but not alive. Investigators traced the property's history and discovered a shocking connection. The home was previously owned by Anthony Kennedy's sister. With that link, police now had enough grounds to issue a search warrant for Anthony's residence. When authorities searched his home, they seized a computer and various other items. In his browsing history, they found chilling search queries, including, "Can I be prosecuted without a body?" Though ominous, it still wasn't enough to convict him of murder. But the break came when police obtained surveillance footage of Anthony at Home Depot, purchasing a tote bag and bags of cement, the same materials found with Adriana's remains. That was enough to secure an arrest warrant for 43-year-old Anthony Kennedy, now wanted for aggravated murder in connection with Adriana's death. However, by then, Anthony had fled. Authorities offered a $5,000 reward through Cuyahoga County Crime Stoppers for any information leading to his capture. Eventually, Anthony surrendered. He walked into a police station and turned himself in. He was arrested, handcuffed, and held in jail awaiting extradition. His lawyer, Blaine Jones, told reporters not to jump to conclusions. But Anthony would soon confess. Rather than face a full trial, Anthony Kennedy struck a plea deal with prosecutors. As part of that agreement, he had to reveal the full truth of what happened. He admitted that the relationship between him and Adriana had deteriorated. He claimed she had been unfaithful, though there was no proof. Anthony had a jealous streak and had even installed cameras in their shared home to monitor her while he was away. Paranoia consumed him. He became convinced that Adriana was seeing someone else. Fueled by rage and obsession, he began to plot her death. He went to Home Depot and bought concrete and a tote bag, but he didn't act right away. Several days later, on October 10th, 2022, he executed his plan. That night, Anthony left work and drove home. Adriana was asleep on the couch, resting peacefully. Without warning or confrontation, Anthony retrieved a gun and shot her in the head. He then stuffed her lifeless body into the tote bag, placed that into a larger construction bag, and carried it to her car. He drove across state lines to his sister's former home in Wilkinsburg. There, in the backyard, he dug a hole, buried the bag, and sealed it with concrete. He then abandoned Adriana's car at a random spot in Pennsylvania to create distance from the crime. On the very day Adriana was found, Thanksgiving, Anthony had returned to the burial site. Ring camera footage caught him approaching the home. His plan was to move Adriana's body elsewhere, but when he saw that the concrete had hardened, he gave up and left. Although he was facing a life sentence, the plea deal allowed him the possibility of parole after 23 years. Many were outraged. When investigators examined Adriana's phone records, they found no evidence of cheating. She had been innocent. Her life was taken over false assumptions and obsessive jealousy. Adriana was remembered as sweet, free-spirited, and radiant. A young woman with dreams, love in her heart, and a bright future ahead of her. Surveillance footage revealed one more haunting detail. Anthony hadn't been alone. A car was seen dropping him off the day he returned to the burial site, implying someone else may have been involved. But to this day, no other person has been charged. This tragic case remains clouded in mystery, and many still wonder if full justice was ever served. May Adriana Taylor's soul rest in eternal peace. The heartbreaking story of Adriana Taylor offers several important lessons, both personal and societal. Here are a few key takeaways. 1. Jealousy and possessiveness are red flags, not signs of love. Anthony's extreme jealousy, installing cameras to monitor Adriana and obsessing over her every move, was a clear sign of emotional abuse and control. Genuine love is rooted in trust and respect, not surveillance and suspicion. Lesson: possessiveness is not love. It's a warning sign of deeper emotional instability that should never be ignored. 2. Age gaps can mask power imbalances. While age differences don't always lead to unhealthy relationships, large gaps, like the 20 years between Adriana and Anthony, can sometimes create power imbalances, especially when one partner is much younger and less experienced. Lesson: be aware of dynamics that might put one partner at a disadvantage in terms of control, maturity, or independence. 3. Don't ignore sudden silence from a loved one. Adriana was known for always checking in with friends and family. When she suddenly stopped, her loved ones knew something was wrong. Acting on that instinct was critical in eventually uncovering the truth. Lesson: if someone you care about suddenly disappears or stops communicating, take it seriously. Trust your gut and report it. 4. People who harm often try to cover their tracks. Anthony tried to hide his crime by burying Adriana's body in concrete, lying to police, and even returning to move the remains. His calculated steps show that people with malicious intent often go to great lengths to cover it up. Lesson: investigators and the public should remain vigilant. Lack of immediate evidence doesn't mean a person is innocent. 5. The justice system can be imperfect. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Anthony Kennedy took a plea deal and will be eligible for parole after 23 years. Many believe this was not a harsh enough sentence for taking a young woman's life. Lesson: justice does not always feel complete, especially when plea deals are involved. The fight for fair sentencing and accountability continues. 6. Not everyone who helps gets caught. Surveillance footage suggested Anthony had help, but no one else was ever arrested or charged. This lack of closure adds to the pain and confusion. Lesson: crimes can involve silent accomplices. It's a reminder that justice sometimes stops short and not every question gets answered. 7. Protecting women from intimate partner violence is a shared responsibility. Adriana's death was preventable. If the signs of control and obsession had been more widely recognized, or if she had been able to safely leave, the outcome might have been different. Lesson: as a society, we must do more to educate, support, and protect individuals, especially women, from abusive relationships. This story is a chilling reminder of how love can turn dangerous when control, insecurity, and violence replace care and respect. Adriana's story should inspire us to speak up, stay aware, and protect those we love.